Calling the meeting to order. Can everybody stand for the pledge, please?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So, hang on a second. All right, let's do roll call. Lynn James.
Here.
Megan Levine. Ann Markoulis.
Here.
Angela Ramo.
Here.
Leah Leone.
Here.
And Maureen Jimenez.
Here.
And I am here. So all 7 of us are here. Our student rep is not here tonight, but.
He is not. He did email me. He has an AP and a chemistry exam tomorrow. He did want to apologize for not being here, and he will be here at our next meeting.
That's fine, he should study, absolutely. Okay, so we have the minutes. Can I get a motion? Angela and Ann, any comments or questions on those? Okay, all in favor? 5. Right, I was not either, so 5 in favor, any against, any abstentions? Thank you. 2 abstentions, okay. Committee reports, we have none this meeting, so we'll go to the superintendent's report. Maria?
Okay, so before we start with the presentations, I just want to put a reminder out there for the list of events that are occurring in the next couple of weeks and into the spring. The middle school play is happening next weekend. This weekend, coming up. So if you want to see Shrek with all its beauty, and I am sure that it's going to be worth seeing when our middle school gets together to put on a performance. It's truly an amazing one. As you see behind me, Miss Saigon is the play being put on at the high school. That's on March 31st and 1st, okay, April 1st. But there is also a special presentation on the 30th, March 30th, and that is for our seniors. So if you belong to the senior center, if you are just a senior who's a little concerned about coming to the event when we have a full crowd here, I know some have been concerned about their health, but we do have a special performance. So if in fact it's free to our seniors, and we would love to have you come in. So please check our website for updated information, or give us a call at the high school for the high school play, or the middle school for the middle school performance for additional information. I know these are going to be 2 amazing shows that are going to be put on, and I'm looking forward to them. So there are a number of other events as we go through the next couple of months. They will be posted on our website, so please check our website on an ongoing basis, as they will be stories and updated information provided. Okay, at this point in time, I'm going to introduce our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and Technology to introduce our first presentation. Alexa?
Thank you, Dr. Rihanna. It is my pleasure to now introduce our Coordinator of ENL and World Languages, Ms. Ashley Giraldi. She will be presenting on a new program that we're hoping to begin to support our young learners, especially our young learners who are not just learning for the first time in a formal education setting, but learning English as well. So Mr. Giraldi, would you please come up? Thank you.
And, yeah, you might want to.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time, and I would like to introduce our proposal for this summer's English immersion program for incoming kindergarten students. To have another language is to possess a second soul. That resonates with me dearly. This number is always quite shocking whenever I research it, and obviously it's a bit more every single time I put it in the search engine. So yes, it is quite intimidating, but I think on a local level that we are contributing to this number, which is really an amazing accomplishment. So bilingual speakers as of January. So basically our program is going to fully immerse our incoming kindergartner students in the English language. It's going to make the English language fun and effortless. We are going to have age-appropriate interactive early childhood development. It will allow our incoming kindergartners to acquire the English language naturally through an educational and interactive setting. It will be taught over the summer by our New York State certified ENL and bilingual teachers. Sessions will be conducted in small groups. We have two goals for the program. Our first goal is to provide students with the opportunity to gain as much English language as possible, in addition to increase their readiness for kindergarten and kindergartners going into first grade. We want to capitalize on this super beneficial moment in time for this age of student, and we think that with a program like this, it will really help them learn English phrases, come a bit more equipped and ready to start their kindergarten career. And students can acquire skills to enhance their achievement. So we know, according to research, we've heard many facts before, that being bilingual, learning a second language, can greatly assist development of reading abilities, cognitive development, as well as verbal and spatial abilities. Who is eligible for this summer immersion program? Any incoming kindergartner that is registered with the Glen Cove City School District for September 2023. So we are going to work with our elementary summer academic program to include our ENL students who are moving from kindergarten to first grade. What will our program look like? It will run just in conjunction with our existing summer program, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., Monday through Thursday for 5 weeks. It will be taking place at one of our elementary schools in the district. It is for kindergartners by invitation only and at no cost to the parent. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I will be here, but please feel free to maybe take a photo if you'd like to contact me. Thank you.
Ashley, don't sit yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Some of the board members may have some questions.
Yes, questions.
Hi, I think this sounds really great. Thank you so much for presenting on it. I was just wondering, how are the incoming kindergarten students going to be identified?
So every student fills out a home language questionnaire, and that's something that happens at intake, at registration, at their house, and I will be going through each home language questionnaire and identifying potential candidates that are both Spanish speaking and will benefit from being immersed in the English language.
Okay, is it only Spanish speaking?
For this summer, I believe we're going to focus on that because we do have many bilingual teachers
Okay.
that are predominantly Spanish speaking.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
of course. Question.
This is excellent. When Dr. Rihanna started telling us a little bit about this, I was really excited. So thank you for presenting this. My question is, when you say who's going to be teaching it, do we have staff already who are interested and like ready to go, or not sure yet?
I would imagine, because I know our staff is very receptive to any kind of additional immersion for our incoming kindergartners. Any increase in English language will assist them, but we have not yet made postings or things like that.
Thank you.
Yes.
I know this isn't easy to predict, but do you have any idea what kind of class size you'd be looking at?
So the last time I saw the HLQs, which was probably a week ago, and we may have received additional entrants for kindergarten, we had about 50 potential students that could benefit from this. So ideally, small classes would be best, but depending on the space that we have in the summer, I think that's still to be determined. Yes.
So what is that 50 compared to what you were, compared to your expectation? Like, you're saying you have like 50 now that would benefit, and that the program would be a good fit for. What was your expectation when you first started?
I honestly didn't know. I know a few other districts try to cap class sizes a bit smaller, 12 to 15, but we would have to come up with our own curriculum and see what we really want to focus on. I didn't know what to expect with
Right.
incoming kindergartners. So I'm happy we have a population that will benefit from this program, and I'm looking forward to working out the details with numbers.
So now, unless I missed it, you said the course is by invitation. So you
Yes.
would be reaching out.
Correct.
So projecting forward, let's say it's popular and people are interested and they start reaching out to you. What happens? Have you considered how to handle if the demand is greater than the space we have? And I'm not trying to be difficult. I just
No,
mean
not
just
at all.
just
Yes.
looking forward to
It's
see.
a great question to
Yeah.
consider, definitely. So by invitation only, right now, that's referring to students that are already registered.
Okay.
So if we have more incomers, that register, say, in August, and they maybe missed a few weeks of the program or things like that, that's something we'll have to consider, for next year, how to roll out the information.
Thank you.
So we do a good job, just for informational sake, we do a good job in trying to have registered by the end of this school year as a large majority of our incoming kindergartners. Okay, so yes, could somebody register in July and August and actually even the first week of school? Yes. So depending on whether we have the space, we may add a student during the summer, but at that point, it would be more difficult to plan accordingly. So we'll do our best to get as many students that have registered. If someone is out there listening and has not yet registered their student, their child, then we ask that they continue. I get weekly information from our registration desk as to how many incoming kindergartners we have registered already. That actually started in January, the process, and we know that at certain times of the year, in the spring, we get a great number coming in as well.
Yeah, no, that wasn't really a question. It wasn't based in any kind of, it wasn't an administrative query per se. It was really more coming from the place of people find out about things and there is an interest. And sometimes there's a spontaneous interest that you weren't accounting for. So it wasn't really about balancing how well we reach out to the community, just in the event that people go, oh, hey, wow, here's this thing, and this thing is really cool, and can we be a part of it? It was really more
Yeah.
just like that.
So this portion is for English language learners, but we do have our regular summer program as well, and that has grown as far as people who want to participate in it, and we have expanded. The biggest issue we're having this year is that there's a lot of construction that will be going on in each of our buildings. We want to make sure that students and staff are safe, so we don't want them working around the construction. So we'll be moving this to Gribben and a portion of Connolly, and that will limit some of the space we have. So.
Thank you for doing this presentation. I just have a very quick question. Will transportation be offered for families for this particular program?
So that's something we still have to determine, and I think we were kind of toying with the idea if they were registered in kindergarten.
Okay, so transportation can't be given to students before kindergarten starts, so we are looking at not adding to the transportation needs that are there for our summer program. So we most likely will be able to add them to our current plans, that our current summer program, transportation.
All right, thank you.
That's a good question. It's something we would include like on the mailer that we would send home also, so parents are well informed.
Okay. I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm really embracing this program. I've been talking about it for a number of years, and how can we best do it, and it's coming to fruition. Again, knowing that language acquisition starts during that period of time, it is a perfect opportunity to help students not only with their English language, but their transition to a regular school day. So we're hoping that it supports our students in multiple ways as we move into their formative years. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Oh, sorry about that. That was a little loud. Okay. At this point in time, I know that we look forward to this every week until May 16th or thereabouts. So I'm going to introduce our Assistant Superintendent for Business, Victoria Galante, for the next step in our budget process and in informing the district as to where we are. Victoria?
Good evening, everyone. So tonight, we're going to put together the whole 2023-2024 budget. We have looked individually at the administrative, capital, and program components. By law, we have to present the budget to the community by the three components. So we'll start with the administrative component. So these slides are a little different than I showed you in the past few meetings. I gave you the actual, the third column was the actual of the 2021-22 school year. But now I'm going to show you the dollar difference between this year's budget that we're in and the proposed budget for 23-24. And once again, I'm not going to go through all the lines and all the numbers. I'll just point out a few of them that have variances that are a little bit on the higher side and try to explain why. So in this first slide, the Office of Finance and Business has an increase that is usually a little higher than normal, but I can tell you we have another mandate where we have to bring in a third-party consultant to help us with this new regulation that we have to have in place for when we close our books for our financials. And that, again, every time we bring in a third-party person to help us, it does cost money. So other than that, again, just contractual obligations. We did raise the line for advertising because we are going to be doing a lot of capital projects, and we have to advertise the bids in the newspaper, so that contributed to the increase in that line also. Again, on this slide, not much of an increase. Again, Office of Personnel, there was a little increase in staffing and contractual obligations, but other than that, not much of an increase in any of the other lines on the slide. I guess what hits me on this slide is our unallocated insurance. And our insurance premiums have gone up. In fact, I think they went up to the tune of about 15%. So you say, why? Okay, one of the reasons, again, is cyber insurance coverage that districts need. Again, a lot of districts had floods, just like ourselves, with storms and things like that, that just drives up insurance costs for everyone involved. I did speak to the insurance company. We did have a big insurance claim with Storm Ida. The insurance did cover the district for $1 million towards expenses of that storm. But I did speak to them because I told them that we're doing mitigation through FEMA, where this would prevent anything like that happening again. And they're going to bring all that information to their underwriters. And hopefully, if not next year, it will help bring down our premium in the following year. So that was something a little positive. Again, here, supervision and officer curriculum, not much of a dollar change between this year's budget and next year. So the total admin budget for 23-24 is $8,311,753. And we'll go on now to the capital component. Once again, operation of plant, again, an increase there, and why? What's in those lines are your utilities, all the things that the facilities department needs in order to do in-house repairs, things like that. Also, when there's our security, which means security maintenance, security updates. We spoke about adding about $185,000 in that line for new software for our cameras, district-wide cameras, because right now when our principals have to go look at a footage in the camera, it's very cumbersome. It takes them a long time to find what they need. We want to upgrade that software and also upgrade some of the really old cameras that really are, when you look at them, you can't even make out the person's face or the car or whatever. So that's what's driving that line. Refund of real properties has gone down. We're kind of not seeing as many tax certs as we have in the past for whatever reason. And once again, I'm not too concerned because if for any reason we need more money to pay our tax certs, we can always go into our reserve with board approval to take that money out of our reserve during the school year. So right now, that's what we're going to go with, what we have on the books right now and what our lawyers are telling us that they're seeing at this point in time. What I did, you'll see there's a difference in the line that says bond, principal, and interest. Then the line under it is a ban, which means that we're going to go out to borrow for the bond, but it's only a short-term borrowing for 1 year. And then we also have our energy performance contract lease agreement that we're going to go to closing probably next week. So instead of, in the past, everything was all together. That's why if you see in 22, 23, for the bond and principal, it was like over $900,000. I decided to break it out. I want you to see what you're paying for. Is it for the bond? Is it for the ban? After next year, we won't see a ban. It'll all roll up into the bond, principal, and interest, but you will see that EPC lease agreement for the next 12 years. So I think it's clearer for the community to see everything separate than one big number. So if you see like you have a negative or decrease of $667,000, but you have an addition of about $800,000. So in total, you have an addition of about $200,000 in debt service that you have to pay. And once again, the transfer to capital, we'll talk about what we're going to use that money for, and we left it at $1 million. So for the capital component, your total for the 23-24 school year would be $9,508,467, a $383,000 approximate difference from this year. Then we come to our last component, which is our program component, the biggest component in the budget. And once again, a lot of these lines, teaching, regular school teaching, special ed school, have multiple lines within them. And I gave you a breakout of all those lines as we did these components, presentations in the last couple of meetings. Special ed, again, huge increase. We're seeing a lot more students that need special ed services, special ed placements, children moving into the district that have needs. So by law, we must satisfy those needs, and that's what's driving that line. On this slide, computer-assisted instruction, which is our IT department and all our Chromebooks and iPads for the staff, for the students, the one-on-one thing. So again, an increase, but not a large increase for what we have. Remember, we supply Chromebooks, iPads throughout the district, pre-K to 12, all our staff, everyone has the a device that they could use. And a lot of the times now, these devices, you know, they age out. After a certain amount of years, they have to be replaced. So we're always going to be on that rolling replacement kind of a routine. On this slide, again, there isn't much of an increase in any of these areas. Contract transportation, again, the increase in transportation CPI is different than the CPI that we use in our calculation for our tax cap. So I believe the contract transportation increase, just the CPI, was like about 7 or 8%, which is driving that. Plus, we also try to put into our calculation an extra bus or two in case it is needed. Again, not much variances on this slide. Again, FICA's up a little bit. The more staff you have, the more taxes you pay, payroll taxes, that's what drives that. The retirement systems, basically one went up a little, one actually went down a little bit for next year. Okay, so on this slide, yes, we have another glaring increase, health insurance. Health insurance went up 14% this year, which is an increase. I believe the year before was 11%, and we are being told that probably the following year it'll be anywhere between 16 and 18%. So it is on the rise. It's all being driven by, unfortunately, the pandemic and COVID. You know, when they tell you, you can go get COVID tests for free and whatever, basically nothing is free. Somehow, some way, people are going to pay for it, and that's what's driving this. We've seen this in the past where it goes up and then, it starts to find its way back down again. Again, I will, as the business person in the district, try to go out and see if there's anything out there that we can offer our employees, not to replace our current health benefit that we use, but in another alternate if people want to go a different route, a cheaper route, because every time, it goes up, it also goes up for the contribution the employee has to make. So I believe that's the end of that one. So the total program component is $90,179,150 for the 23-24 school year. So if you put everything all together, it comes out to a budget of $107,999,307 for the 23-24 budget. Again, if anyone has any questions, you can email me at any time and I will get back to you. I will be giving the board tomorrow, line by line, individual line by line. I think it's a 3-year or 4-year comparison of each line, spreadsheet that you could look at and compare and hopefully have questions for the next board meeting about the budget. any lines that, you know, you feel you would like more information on, you can either email me before the next budget so we can talk about it in public session. And we did something like that last year, okay? Because I'm sure if you have questions, maybe the people in the community that have the same questions. Wait, there's one more presentation, we're not done. We have 2 presentations. Where's my IT guy? Okay, so we're also have to speak about tonight your tax levy limit tax that had to be reported to the state controller's office on March 1st. Sometimes we get to do this before I report, but the way the calendar fell this year, I had to report, and we'll go over it now. So this is the calculation that is used to come up with your tax levy for the school year. Okay, and it's a constant in and out. It's our prior year tax levy. The tax base growth factor is something that's given to us by ORPS, which is the Office of Real Property Tax. So they give us that figure. We add in the pilots that we had last year. We take out our exclusions from last year. The allowable growth factor is our 2% CPI, Consumer Price Index, that can't be more than 2%. Remember, when people say it can't be more than 2%, that's what can't be more than 2%, your Consumer Price Index, not your tax levy limit. Okay, so then I subtract the pilots we're getting in, and as you see, our pilots that are coming in for next year are higher than what this year's pilots were, which always should be that way. They should always be higher unless pilots fall off and go back on the property roll. And then also I could put back in our exclusions for this year. So what's in the exclusions? Exclusions are your debt service, your state aid, basically those 2 components make up your exclusions. So the tax levy limit for the 23-24 school year is $75,253,780. What that equates to in a percentage is a tax levy limit of 2.52%. That's allowable legal limit that was reported to the Office of State Controller. When you go to vote in May, you only need a simple majority vote, 50% plus 1. This does not mean we need a supermajority vote because it's over 2%, because remember, this is not the 2%. The 2% is the CPI. Your allowable legal levy limit can be over your 2%. So this is I just do a little comparison of your tax levy over the years. You had, 73 million last year, you're going up to 75 million this year. The difference between the two is $1,850,913. And as you can see, usually your tax levy limit has gone up anywhere between $1.2 million, $1.5 million. This year it didn't go up like $5 million or anything. You're still within that range that it normally goes up from year to year. And then again, here's the percentages, just so you have a little bit of an idea of where you've been, what you've been doing. So the bottom part, before the tax cap, you were basically 4 point something every year. 4.2, 4.7, 4.69. Since the tax cap came in 2012, 2013, you've been within that 2% range. In fact, in 2013, 2014, your tax cap was 2.42%. We're asking for the 2023-24 year, 2.52%, which when you think about what inflation is now, 7-8%, your levy is really not that much more than it was in 2013, 2014. And again, The year we're in now, 2022, 23, it was 1.80. What are we going to do with that $1 million? Well, we would like to address the middle school PA system, fire system, and the clocks in the middle school. We have an estimate, and we think we can address all 3 items with $1 million, which is desperately needed in the middle school. Some areas of the middle school, you can't hear the PA system, you can't hear the fire system, and they're all connected. So we want to do all of it at one time, instead of just doing a PA system and then trying to hook the fire system into the PA system and the clocks. We really just want to address everything at once and make everything work.
I want to interrupt you here for a minute. Okay, go back
That was
to...
the last slide, really.
Okay. Again, just so that we're clear, the actual physical construction of the middle school is not as easy. The implementation of a new fire system as well as a PA system is much more complicated because you don't have the drop ceilings there. You have a lot of, I'm sorry? Cement walls, concrete walls. So again, we're trying to ensure that it is done in the most efficient and actually most inexpensive way to do it. We must address the fire system and the PA system for safety reasons, obviously, and the clocks being just another addition to that.
We've always said in the past, we try to use that money that's in the budget, in our capital outlay, for items that are on the verge of emergency. In other words, they're working, but they're not working effectively, efficiently. And before they just go dead altogether, and we don't have a system like what happened in the high school, and that caused other problems and other monies that we had to spend because we needed 24/7 fire watch. I mean, we're trying to address these things before that happens. Okay, so, and that's why we usually focus that money in the budget on things that are on that verge of being an emergency. For the next board meeting on the 29th, we'll review the 23-24 budget, and like I said, questions and answers from, if I get anything from the community, I will address them at the meeting itself, and the board, if you want to send me your questions ahead of time, so we can put them together, and we can just talk about whatever at the next board meeting, that would be, great.
Sorry, on the slide that has the tax levy calculations, one of the exclusions, either in or out, includes state aid.
Right, so
Do we have that, so we have that figure?
state aid,
Yes.
yeah, it's right now, your state aid is $147,000, which is nothing. So what's driving the levy to go up is now, we're putting on debt service, all right? But you don't have the state aid coming in yet, because you haven't done the projects. Because what happens, you take let's say you have $1 million in debt service. If your state aid comes in and it's $400,000 you get in state aid, then only $600,000 goes into that formula instead of $1 million. So, but right now, you're a little bit lopsided, because we're starting the debt service, and your state aid isn't coming in yet. And any state aid you have, I mean, $147,000 in state aid is nothing, because you have no projects out there. You have those small projects that we've been doing over the years.
So you're talking about reimbursable state aid for construction capital projects?
Right. One offsets the other. So once your state aid, your debt service, let's say, may go up again next year a little, but once your state aid comes in, it'll kind of make it go down in this formula where it will bring your levy down. Like I said, you're a little off balance now. We're going to be a little off balance, but it'll kind of work itself out.
Any other questions?
I have one. I just would like you to clarify line A1010, which is the Board of Ed line, just to, so the community understands what that is comprised of.
Your board, the 1010 is your secretary, is in that line. All your conferences that you go to, your supplies that you need as board members. And remember, a lot of your conferences or your workshops, you're mandated to go to as new board members. So you have a lot of new board members come on in a year, that, you know, that line will go up. If you go to the New York State School Boards Association conference somewhere, that comes all out of that line.
Okay, thanks, Victoria, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have questions for Victoria? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. And that is the superintendent's, well, I'm going to take one step before I go there. I do want to speak to some advocacy work that I've been doing. And over the years, I have, with the support of the board, been able to advocate for an increase in foundation aid. Remember, we were a district that only got 44% of its foundation aid. We successfully got to, or will get to 100% by next year, but it's a flawed formula. And so, very much so, we want the Senate and the Assembly to bring forth in their one-house budget an understanding that the foundation aid formula cannot continue in this manner. It is based on information, data that is 20 years old. In 20 years, most of our districts in the state of New York have had significant changes in their profile. And so it is very, very important that that move forward. I do want to say that I've been on Zooms speaking with the head of the Education Committee in the Assembly, Assemblyman Benedetto, as well as Shelley Mayer. I actually have submitted testimony to the Senate Education Committee Budget Forum. And today, we were given an understanding that the one-house budget will be promoting a need to, and include a need to change the foundation aid formula. So it's a very, very good step in the right direction. We are hopeful that the governor understands the need and supports this need in the upcoming school year. Because again, we only have one more year, and it's not even a year by the time the new budget comes forth and they begin to create the budget for the 24-25 school year. It'll already be 4 or 5 months later, by November. So we want to make sure that's happening. So I was very happy to see that. Some other issues that we've brought forth, trying to get reimbursement for costs that a district puts forth in regard to security. Security measures have been a huge impact on any school district's budget. We too upgrade our security, make changes to it, and so we are advocating for some kind of reimbursement in that way. We are also looking at things like increasing capital outlay, as well as being able to ensure that we have the same characteristics as a non-city school in regard to the increase in debt limit. Okay, right now we have a 5% increase when non-city schools have 10%. All of which, and I could do a whole presentation for hours and hours on this, but what I do want to make understood is that This will positively impact the district in regard to receiving state aid and giving us what our real numbers, real profile suggest is needed to provide an equitable education without increasing the tax burden. And so I look forward to the governor's budget. Hope she's listening. But I thank the time that Senator Mayer and Assemblyman Benedetto have given me to continue with our advocacy, and let's see what happens come April. Okay. So I just wanted to give the board as well as the community an understanding that we continue to look for our fair share of the foundation aid, and in doing so, being able to do it with the correct profile and need as it pertains to our district. And that's the superintendent's report today. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Does anybody have questions on that? Okay, thanks so much, Maria, that your advocacy is so important for that issue, and it's been such a change, in just a couple years. It's really turned it around, so I'm glad you're continuing to advocate for a fairer formula.
Thank you.
It makes a big difference. Okay, so the next, let's see, we don't have our student board member, so his report we aren't doing, but we are doing public participation now. So we welcome comments or questions from the public. You can come up to the podium. You can actually sign in with Ida there, your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes to ask questions. You can ask all your questions and sit down, and then you'll get an answer, or if we have to respond a couple days later, we'll do that depending on the question.
Should be on board item, agenda items only.
Agenda items only, yes, thank you for that reminder.
Good evening, folks. How are we doing this evening?
Very good.
We're good?
Thank
Okay. My name is Charles Perez. I live at 20 Duke Place in Glen Cove. I do have a very concerning topic tonight, very serious topic. I do have a speech prepared. I'm hoping to take under 3 minutes. First things first. I have a copy of my speech if you would like.
That would be great.
Now or later?
Whatever you like.
Okay. I don't have enough for everybody.
Yeah, no.
What I have. So, once again, good evening. My name is Charles Perez. I live at 20 Duke Place, like I stated previously. And I'm a concerned parent of a student that attends in this district. I'm not sure if you're aware of the multiple videos of Ed Casamento, whose title is Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum for the East Meadow School District. Thanks to Project Veritas investigative journalism, he was exposed on video for making very concerning and controversial statements about subtly inserting DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion curriculum for students, and encouraging teachers to do it covertly. He stated in this, I guess you could say, surprise interview, he didn't know he was being interviewed. Every district, and I quote, in Nassau County, every district, he said, in Nassau County is doing it covertly, except for the black population, whatever that means. He is also one of the co-founders of something called DCAMP, which I provided in that third sheet, which is a seminar-based retreat, quote unquote, offered to teachers for free, to teach educators who then in turn teach students about sex and gender identity. Also, while teaching students to keep things from parents. Since those videos broke, more videos have surfaced with teachers from East Meadow and Jericho school districts, also admitting they covertly do this for their students, quote unquote. It is a responsibility of parents, us, not any of you here, not any teachers in any school, not anyone except us, okay, to teach sensitive topics like sex. It is unacceptable that this happened. Today, or yesterday, excuse me, Project Veritas dropped another note from previous superintendents and the board stating that they never had done this, but this is something new, and they signed a letter. It is on Instagram, on the Project Veritas website, or page, as you can say. So where was I? It is the responsibility of parents, not teachers, to raise our children, and these sensitive topics should not be brought up to children until they are of appropriate age. By parents, again, by parents. When I was growing up, speaking about the birds and the bees was something that fell on the duties of the parents. Now, I understand schools teach basic sex education and biology at the appropriate time, and that's what it should be, basic. I'm here to humbly request a copy of however many pages it may be of my child's lesson plans and curriculum, and I encourage parents around this district to do the same. I know for a fact I'm not the only concerned parent. All parents of all schools in this district, in my humble opinion, need to have their eyes peeled for this. Kids as young as 1 to 2 years old, maybe even younger in this country, are being introduced to sex in some way, shape, or form, like drag queen shows and books targeting children, confusing them, and possibly causing gender dysphoria. This is unacceptable and criminal, as per Section 235 in the penal law. I am an instructor of law as well, just so you know. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I will say your heads are in the sand, or have blinders on, or whatever analogy I can use to make you understand how serious I am. I don't know what conversations happen with you folks behind closed doors, and I'm sure they're positive in nature. I'm not accusing any teacher or an employee of this district of doing this. These statements I made were to simply make parents in this school district aware of what is going on in our neighboring school districts, and to request my child's curriculum on paper, either email or whatever. So I will end with these two questions. Is this something that the Glencoe City School District is currently implementing in the curriculum?
What exactly are you asking?
Is DEI, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion curriculum, being covertly taught to our students in this district without parents' knowledge?
No, nothing is covertly being taught.
No. Okay, excellent. The second question is, do you know if any teachers in this district are attending these seminars?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. That's all I have for you folks. I hope you guys
Okay,
can
so
review
right,
the third page I sent you.
Please understand we allotted over the 3 minutes.
No, I
and
appreciate that.
Okay.
I appreciate
So
that.
at this point in time, I'm just going to ask you that if there are copies of curriculum that you are requesting,
Yes, please.
specifically, then just email Ms. Doshner.
Okay, thank you.
In regard to specific grade level information that you're asking.
Thank you. I appreciate your
welcome.
time.
I have a question for you. Excuse me? I have a question for you. Yes.
No, we're not going back.
Lynn,
What?
we don't talk back. It's,
It wasn't a back and forth, it was just for my own, so I understand what this gentleman means. I just am curious, I don't know what diversity, equity, and inclusion means to you. So I just wanted to know what it means to him, because that's a broad term, and it might not mean the same thing to him as it means to me or as it means to Angela. So if we're all on the same page, we better understand what he's saying.
would anybody else like to ask a question or make a comment? Okay, thank you. We'll move on then. Okay, so instructional report, can I get a motion? What? Oh, we have to, okay. Okay, instructional report, go ahead, Alexa.
Based on the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve Agenda Item 7 on the instructional report: A, Committee on Special Education; B, Committee on Preschool Special Education; and C, approval of AP review classes.
All right, can I get a motion? Leah and Maureen, all in favor? Okay, that's 7.
Thank you.
Next, we have business affairs.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, a motion is requested for the approval of agenda item 8, business affairs B, operations 1 through 7.
Can I get a motion? Lynn and Megan, any questions or comments on that? Go ahead, Angela.
For the donation, it says the pit field. I'm just curious what that is.
She's asking about the donation of the scoreboard.
This, yeah, it's the donation of the,
Sorry, I was looking at something else.
the scoreboard will be for the school pit field, and I just didn't know what that was. It's not important. I just,
It's the lower field of the middle
Lower
school.
field, yeah.
Right.
I thought it said high school, but,
Okay. No, it's fine. Are there any other questions or comments on business affairs?
I got that wrong, I apologize, it's
It's the
high
high
school.
school.
Yes.
right, it says high school.
Sorry.
We think it's the baseball field.
Right.
Okay,
The pit used to be something else in my day, so
Ah.
thanks for clarifying.
times have changed.
Sorry.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, all in favor, so that's all of us, 7, okay. So we'd like to thank what is it, the Greek Church donated this? The Greek Orthodox Church donated a scoreboard to the district for the pit field. Thank you very much for that, we appreciate it very much.
They will receive a letter thanking them for their donation, and we thank them for their donation.
Absolutely.
As there is no scoreboard down there now.
Okay, so moving on to personnel.
Based upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the board to approve agenda item 9, a certified 1 through 10.
Can I get a motion? Angela and Ann, any questions or comments on that? All in favor? Okay, 7 of us, okay. Thank you.
And based upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the board to approve agenda item 9, personnel B, classified 1 through 3.
Can I get a motion? Leah and Maureen, questions or comments? All in favor? 7, okay. Moving on to unfinished business. I don't believe we have any. New business, we have a first reading and adoption of the investment policy.
So if you recall, we're going to a first reading and adoption. Our board policy does indicate that we can do that in emergency situations. The bank is holding a lower interest rate for us in regard to the loan of monies for the energy performance contract. And so we are hopeful to gain that lower interest rate, and in doing so, need to amend that policy accordingly. You've been given a copy of that, so I say this benefits the district if we can agree on a adoption this evening.
I just want to say that the amendment to the policy was written by our lawyers and looked at by our financial advisor, and it's something that many districts have. Our policy never spoke to this before because it was came into play about 10 years ago to have this verbiage in the policy. So the bank is requiring us to have this verbiage in our policy, and that's why the policy needs to be amended.
Okay, thanks. Does anybody else have questions or want to discuss this? Okay, so everybody's read it and is clear on it. I have to make a motion first, right? Yes. Can I get a motion? Maureen and Leah, all in favor? Okay, that's 7. Okay, do I have to do, is it separate? Maria? It's all, we did, okay, so it's the two of them together, okay. So I guess we're on to board comments now. Does anybody have anything to share? Anne?
Thank you. Excuse me, I'm on my phone, so I apologize. I have some notes written on my phone, so. Did you want to say something?
No, I just know what you're going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
I do, and I am sorry I didn't bring it up in my list of activities this month.
Yes, there were a couple of activities that I wanted to bring up, but you know what? First off, I really want to say that sitting here as a board member and being amongst all of us, I am so proud to be on this board because of the events that happen in our school districts, our clubs, our activities, different fundraising that's going on. So I really can't thank the staff, you know, the board, just, you know, for approving, you know, Maria for approving, you know, our clubs and stuff. So with that being said, I wanted to bring up about an event that happened in the middle school with our cooking club, which was the first Chopped event. And what I love about it is that community members came and cooked with our children. And it was great, you know, to have these community members come and to cook with our kids. And, you know, one parent says, oh, my child didn't even like chicken parm, but she ate it because she cooked it. So, you know, I have a couple of people here that I would like to thank, which are the advisors, Mr. Iaclano, Mrs. Karathanasis, who is the parent that organized this, North Shore Farms for donating the food that was needed. So it was just really, really an amazing event. And I do have to bring out that there was an air horn. So I wonder who, you know, donated the air horn, so just saying.
I will say something along those lines, too. I saw the student who last year, when he was in 5th grade and went to 6th grade orientation, raised his hand and asked the principal if he can have a cooking club. We didn't have a cooking club before that. And the principal, Mr. Iaclano, said, you know, I think we can talk about that. And sure enough, they did. This young man has his own YouTube channel on, and he's a little chef himself. But it really has sparked a number of our students to get involved in cooking. And with that, I have to say it was a great event. And I spoke with him today about it, and he's looking forward to the next one. So.
Yeah, so it was really pretty cool. The other event that I wanted to bring up was last Friday. There was a student and staff fundraiser. I believe it was the seniors that did this fundraiser. It was a basketball game, the students against the staff, and it was great. It really was. The high school staff, I do have to say, they have some pretty good moves there with, you know, coming to play basketball. So I know I just want to really take the opportunity to thank the staff members, you know, that participated. Please forgive me if I'm going to butcher some names. So Michael Campioni, Lucas Georgiadis, Christy Sinacori, Colleen Quinn, and our very own Mr. Hudson. I do have to say I was sitting with some of the students, and they were just in awe with the moves that that the staff made. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be laughing, but we were, you know, it was just a really great event, and I really want to thank Mr. Hudson for bringing it back. We've had that event in the past, and it was greatly, greatly attended, so thank you. It was just, you know, like I said, the events that we have here are just phenomenal, so I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And you're not going to mention the red and green game?
Oh, I am.
I'm sorry.
I am.
I thought that was her, yeah, I thought that was what she
And I do have to say, though, I should have brought my cowbells at that game, but I didn't. So, yeah. But on that note, on March the 24th, we do have our red and green games, our district games, which is a wonderful community event. So I'm hoping, you know, that many community members come out and support. So it's really a lot of fun. So thank you.
Toward
toward speaking about events, Glen Cove's Got Talent is quickly coming upon us. We will be in the auditorium Saturday from starting at 2 o'clock. We will be having auditions. We also will be starting our rehearsals, but we're going to combine those two things together. And just, lately, the impression of Glen Cove's Got Talent seems to be that it's specifically for the students. And I understand why that is, because our students are they're enthusiastic performers, and we have a community of really wildly talented kids. But that talent doesn't come from nowhere. And from its inception, Glen Cove's Got Talent has been about the community of Glen Cove doing their thing. We all have a talent. Our kids get it from somewhere. And it is a fun night. It is a chance for our students and our adults to take the stage and just, it's a joyful performance. And it's not just music. If your thing is comedy, if your thing is singing, if your thing is dancing, I would absolutely love to see a spoken word artist come through here. But it is fun for all, whether you're on the stage or whether you're in the audience. And COVID hit. Last year was our first show in 2 years. So I am inviting everyone, whether you're a performer or whether you know a performer, we gonna be here Saturday starting at 2 o'clock. So come on, do your thing, have some fun, show us what you got, and be certain show night will be fun. You will enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about? No? Okay. Did you want to say something, Maria, or?
What?
Were you going to say something?
No, no.
Oh,
no.
okay.
They covered it all. They did.
Okay, great. So we have one last public participation session, which could be on any issue or item. If you have questions or comments, you have 3 minutes. Just sign in with Ida. And when you come to the podium, just let us know your name and address, please.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hello.
My name's Tom Bannon, 9 First Street, Glen Cove. Originally, I wasn't going to talk today, but while he was talking, just based on kind of the feedback, I figured I would say something. Basically, all I want to say is I would hope the board understands that with the numbers that the district puts out, including test scores in like the 700s ranking in the state out of 1,200 schools, the college readiness rankings, as I'm all sure you're familiar with, when we hear things like, oh, every superintendent or assistant superintendent in the county is getting together and planning, what was it? I'm not even familiar with the term, to be honest with you, but whatever it means should honestly be irrelevant. Like math, reading, science, for our scores to be where they are, to focus on other aspects that are not going to get these children ready for the next level of education is just pointless. And when you hear person after person on video talking about how, oh, activism is part of my job as a teacher, that's concerning to many parents. And that's really all I wanted to say, is that we should be focusing on things that are going to help get our children ready for the future and not about, what gender or race they are. It's really irrelevant. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to comment? Okay, I think we're done for the night then. Okay, so can I get a motion? Maureen, Leah, all in favor? Okay, we're adjourned. Thanks very much for Glen Cove TV for recording, for the students for volunteering their time to do so, and everybody have a good night. Thank you.